Okay, well, thank you for joining me. My first question, I want to talk about your paper, Vagal Pathways, Portals to Compassion, and the heart-face connection. So could you just start out by explaining what is the heart-face connection?
Oh, sure. When we are born, actually in utero, the area of the brainstem that regulates the heart through the vagus, actually the pathways moves from the dorsal area to the ventral area, regulating the heart, that is. And it reaches an area of the brainstem that controls the muscles of the face and head, including the laryngeal and pharyngeal muscles. So as that occurs, the actual function of that is we basically broadcast our physiological state in our voice. If we're safe and calm, our voices have more melody to them. And when we're frightened or angry, it starts having less inflection. When we're really frightened, it goes high. And when we're angry, it can go high or low, but becomes more monotonic. Our faces, when we feel safe, viscerally safe, our faces have animation. And when we're frightened, our upper part of the face, especially the upper part, basically looks blank. So we have a face-heart connection, and at birth, this face-heart connection is actually how babies suckle. So it's the same nerves involved in social communication and calming are involved in ingestion and calming, and we still ingest as a mechanism for calming, except in the mental health area, they call that eating disorders. But really, the body is trying to find a calm state, and it uses ingestion, just like a baby would.
Right. Well, that seems pretty important for people that are working with suffering and people that are working on the front lines, and being able to provide authentic, compassionate care. So I guess my question now for you is, can that be manipulated? Can you kind of try to self-regulate and fake it till you make it? If you're feeling one thing, can you try to make your face do something else so you can make your patients feel cared for when maybe you're having a really bad day yourself?
Okay, this is a good question. And the answer to this really is that in general, you really can't fake it. If your body, it's not the words we say, and if we try to smile and we're really in the dumps, the smile doesn't work. We'll smile with the muscles of the lower part of the face, and the upper part of the face just will not show exuberance. And many people know this. They feel it in their gut is the term they use, but they often reject the cues, say, oh, the person is really safe to come close to. But in essence, our body is a very good instrument of authentic neuroception of safety. So I can say maybe you can modify and fake it a little bit. I think more than that is you can be aware that your body's shifting state, do a little self-monitoring, self-witnessing, and honor that state in your body, and then see if you can resolve that before you go back and try to work with your clients. So in a sense, you're understanding that your physiology has shifted. And the question is, do you want to broadcast that physiology of threat and distrust and stress, whatever term you want to use, but it's a nervous system that is not accessible? Do you want to broadcast that to your clients or not? And in general, we don't want to do that. So how do we deal with that? Because we have work to do. And that is some self-care, some co-regulation with colleagues, and a moment of sometimes just breathing and calming our bodies down, where we become more aware of our bodily feelings and more appreciative that if our body is in a state of threat, it's not just us, we're broadcasting it to others.
Right. And especially frontliners, healthcare workers, a lot of the time are high achievers. And so they might think, well, this doesn't apply to me. I can fake it and everything will be fine. What would be some of the consequences of trying to do
Oh,
that?
if anyone said that to me, I would say, tell me about your relationships.
Hmm.
I mean, what the person is telling you is that they may think they can get along fine by not being an authentic, accessible person. But if they start saying, I've had difficulty maintaining strong relationships or close relationships, they're telling you That it's part of how they have attempted to survive. And the part is, I'm saying, think more about, can we co-regulate? Can we calm another person? And can they, in receiving our act of kindness, are they calming us back? So visualize the crying baby who becomes calm and conforms to the chest and the arms of the mother. Or even think about a pet dog that is a little bit anxious, a rescue dog, and suddenly becomes on its back, accessible, and wanting to be close. So our nervous systems can downregulate our threat cues. But the issue is, we have to give that nervous system cues of safety. And so when you start saying fake it till you make it, you're talking about your own sense of yourself. And I'm saying that's only definable in terms of the response of others to you. And if you believe that you can, quote, fake it, get a little assessment of how you're really doing in the world with other people.
And that sounds exactly like some of the terms we use to define burnout.
Yeah.
So not good,
Yeah.
not what we want to do. And while frontliners tend to be very skilled at co-regulation as far as taking care of their patients, everybody has bad days and everybody has things coming up in their life unexpectedly, or long-term ongoing sources of stress that, they just need to manage. And so healthcare workers, while they may be more resilient than most people, they're still people too.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the important message. We're all people, meaning we all have vulnerabilities. I mean, I've gotten into situations where people will say to me, you should know better. And I'm saying, look, I'm a human being as well. I respond to the same things. Now, those responses may not be consistent with my intentional brain, what I'd like to do, but my visceral, my lower brain, my body that is very human, very mammalian, can detect threat and it responds to it, just like everyone else's. And I am aware of it. And at times, like, I need to, in a sense, override it. And that's really what you're saying. And the overriding can occur when you realize that your body's reacting, and now you realize the need of the person around you. I think that's the real question that we're dealing with. Okay, I am really wiped out, but the person around me needs me. And the answer is, can I uh, have enough resources where my act of accessibility and co-regulation with the other person has a reward back to me? Is my body calming down? So as I calm the other person, am I getting sufficient feedback that literally nourishes that system? I think this becomes this critical point. We live in a culture that talks about caregiving, and even when you're talking about frontline providers, first responders, we're still talking about giving. But those who give get a lot in return in terms of the relationship and interaction with those whom they are regulating or calming. And we can't forget that, but we can remember that when we get burnt out, that feedback is coming not at the same rate. It's not as rewarding, because the quality of what we are projecting to the other doesn't have the same quality.
And I think that is why a lot of people get into this work. It is a bidirectional relationship. And that's where the intention comes from, to serve. At the beginning, everyone shows up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, ready to engage in part of that. And then just over time, people get worn out, and for these reasons that we've discussed.